Hi, Internet people. So today's Fangirl Freakouts is going to prepare you to go on a little bit of a ride. Yes, so I had mentioned that these more recent weeks I've been doing a lot of podcast videos because I've been listening to a ton of podcasts at work. So I hate sitting in my office in silence. It drives me absolutely crazy. So I literally get paranoid that people are watching me. I need noise or I get fidgety. So I have been listening to a lot of podcasts, and while I was listening to them, I came across a podcast that's been around for a little while called The Lift. So The Lift is from Daniel Foytek, who is the head guy. He does a lot of narrating, so does, I have their names right here because I wanted to make sure I got them all on here. Cynthia Lohman, and then Amber Collins does the voice of a specific character. So all of the stories are, typically they're not connected canonically. The show sort of jumps around in time, but there are some episodes devoted to Victoria Bigglesworth-Hayes. So Victoria is this little 9-year-old girl who is from Victorian England, and she dies in a terrible elevator-related accident, but it leads her to become the sort of waykeeper for this mysterious building with a mysterious lift. So what happens is there are people who something happens in their lives and they're sort of called to the lift, and they show up in this building, and then Victoria takes them to their proper floor, or in one story there's not a particular floor that happens, but primarily the visitors are taken to a particular floor and they work through whatever has happened, and then typically that leads to a positive situation for the main person. Though not always. There are some people who show up in the elevator who definitely don't want help, and Victoria can't do anything except sort of set them into the punishment they're preordained for at this point. One of the stories is exceptionally creepy. It's actually pretty early on. There is a man who we don't officially learn what he did. I don't know why I one-hand finger quoted. There's a man, they never officially say what he did, though it's definitely awful what's hinted at. And he gets sent to the basement. And if you get sent to the basement, you're doomed for eternity. It's terrible. But the stories vary. There's one that is really sweet. There are a lot that are. This one is called Why I Ride the Lift, and it's actually about how riding in the elevator with Victoria saved this man's life, and that story is just very touching. Less horror focused. A lot of them are horror focused. There is one that crosses over with the Wicked Library, and that one connects Victoria with their librarian character, which is very interesting. I really like that episode too. But the stories vary on and off. There are some sci-fi ones. There are a lot of horror ones. There was a recent one where a woman, I'm pretty sure, gets sent to hell. It was really cool to listen to. But they do vary. There's one with an assassin. There's some with children. The ones with children are they're not super creepy, I swear. There are these two little girls who meet Victoria on Halloween, and it is a very sweet episode. Nikola Tesla also appears a little, which is really cool. But the stories are really interesting. The ones about Victoria's actual life, where we learn about her family and what's happened to them, those are really cool. They're set in their own sort of track of episodes, so she's not having guests then. There's a very heartwarming Christmas episode where she meets a boy from her childhood, and it was so great. But I binge listened to them, so a lot of them flood together a bit. There are some prologue ones that are really small, and then there are the actual episodes. There's also a Doctor Who reference that made me smile. But it's definitely something you should listen to if you're looking for a podcast that's sort of eerie. You can sort of figure out the ones that are more horror focused when you're reading the titles. There are always descriptions on their website. I listen to them through the Lyft website. I can't really listen to iTunes at work just because software issues. But I can listen to it really easily on the website. The only issue I have is you can't really skip ahead at all. You have to listen throughout. So sometimes they'll be doing announcements about something that already happened, and you can't skip those very well. At least I couldn't on my computer with the service that they use for that. But it's not a problem. It's 2 extra seconds of content. But it's really cool. Victoria Bigglesworth-Hayes as a character is wonderful. The acting is very diverse for her, even though the character is technically a child, but she's an eternal child, so she has grown up in the hotel, well, it's not a hotel, in the building. The floors are interesting. They all have a different meaning. There are 9. The basement is definitely the worst. Very bad people go to the basement. But the other floors are interesting. They're just very well performed stories. Some of them relate to other creators' works, so it's all guest creators who come in. Daniel Wojtek writes some of them. He also did a story for Alexandria Archives, which is what led me to listen to The Lift. So if you like The Lift, you should definitely listen to that episode of Alexandria Archives. If you aren't already, I've talked about them last week. So there's that. I will say one random, it's not exactly random, but this totally reminds me of the super old Twilight Zone movie. Not Twilight Zone, the Tower of Terror movie. If you have any idea what I'm talking about, it had Kirsten Dunst in it. And it was one of Disney's original based on a ride movies, but they based the Tower, a movie off the Tower of Terror ride, which has now become the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, which is a cool like connection because I definitely get a very Twilight Zone feel from The Lift. They actually mention the Twilight Zone as something that it's sort of near to, which it makes sense. They're sort of stories of like redemptive arcs, which happens a lot in the Twilight Zone. It's a really cool listen. Some of them will make you jump a little bit, so make sure you're not in a room where the lights sometimes flicker or go off, or people will suddenly knock on your doors while you're not paying attention. So, because that's totally not happened to me yet. Anyway, but The Lift is really, really good. You should definitely check it out. I will link it below so you can check out some of the episodes. Feel free to jump around since they're not technically in like a canon lineup. You can skip to some of them. The ones that are focused on Victoria's past, though, you definitely have to make sure you listen to those in order or you'll get confused. But the rest of them, totally free game to listen to whatever you want. I would definitely recommend Why I Write The Lift as like an intro one if you're looking for one to sort of ease your way in real quick. There you go. Let me know what you think about podcasts. If you have any recommendations for me, leave them in the comments below. Or if you listened to The Lift already, let me know some of your favorite episodes. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of me, please subscribe. You can find me on Twitter at CliffNotes, on my blog, cliffnotes.wordpress.com. I write for the Nerdy Girl Express, thenerdygirlexpress.com, and I run their Snapchat, the Nerdy Girl EXP. Bye, Internet people.